God is preparing you. A unique biblical-style story. The desert was never a place Elias wanted to be. It was dry, silent, and endless, miles of sand stretching toward a horizon that never seemed to move. Every step felt the same. Every sunrise looked identical to the last. And every night, the same question echoed through his heart. God, why am I here? Elias had not begun his journey in the wilderness. He once lived in a thriving village by the river, surrounded by friends, laughter, and purpose. He had work, responsibility, and a future he thought he understood. But one night, without warning, everything changed. A fire swept through the fields. The river dried unexpectedly. Crops failed. People scattered. Elias lost everything he thought was secure. And God whispered something that made no sense. Go into the wilderness. I will prepare you. 1. The preparation you didn't ask for. Elias obeyed, but he did not understand. Why would God send him to a place with no water, no shelter, no comfort, no future? The wilderness felt like punishment, not preparation. But Scripture tells us a pattern. God sent Moses into the wilderness before he led a nation. God sent David into caves before he sat on a throne. God sent Joseph into prison before he rose to power. God sent Jesus into the wilderness before his ministry began. The wilderness is often the first sign that God is preparing you, not because he is cruel, but because purpose cannot grow where comfort lives. Elias didn't know that yet. 2. The silence that teaches you to listen. Days passed, then weeks, then months. The desert had no answers, no friends, no distractions, just silence. At first, the silence tormented him. He missed the voices, the noise, the busy life he once had. But slowly, very slowly, Elias began to hear something beneath the silence, his own thoughts, his own fears, his own pride. And beneath all of that, another voice, a voice he had not recognized before. It spoke not in thunder, but in whispers. Be still. I am with you. In the village, Elias prayed quickly because life was fast. In the wilderness, he learned to pray deeply because there was nowhere else to go. And one night, as he looked up at the sky glowing with 1,000 stars, he whispered, Lord, I don't know what you are doing, but I trust you. And heaven answered with peace. 3. The tests that make you stronger. Preparation always includes testing. One morning, Elias awoke to find all his water gone. The jug had been knocked over, and the desert heat consumed every drop. Panic rushed through him. He cried out, God, I will die out here. But God whispered again, Walk. I will show you a spring. Elias wanted the spring now, immediately, but God gave him only direction, not distance. So he walked. Hours passed. The sun scorched the sand. His lips cracked. His strength faded. But he kept walking. At last, he reached a cluster of rocks, and beneath them, water flowed. He wept with relief. It was only one spring, but it was enough. God does not give you everything at once. He gives you enough for the season, because he is preparing you to trust him, not the water. 4. The reshaping of the heart. As months turned into a full year, Elias changed. He no longer feared silence. He no longer panicked when supplies ran low. He no longer measured his worth by what he owned or what people said. The wilderness stripped him, but it also strengthened him. He learned patience. He learned humility. He learned perseverance. He learned to hear God's voice in ways he never had before. One day, while praying, he felt God speak again. The man you were is not the man I need, but the man you are becoming is the one I can use. Tears filled Elias's eyes. All this time, he thought the wilderness was punishment, but it was preparation. 5. The call you couldn't handle before another year passed. Elias had grown strong, both in body and spirit. The wilderness no longer felt like exile. It felt like preparation ground. One evening, as he rested beneath a tree, he heard footsteps. A traveler approached, dusty and exhausted. "Please," the man said, "do you have water?" Elias gave him water freely, something he had once clung to in fear. The man drank and wept. "My village," he said. "It has fallen into chaos. We need someone wise to guide us, someone humble, someone strong, someone who knows how to lead without wealth or pride." Elias felt his heart tremble. Could this be what God had prepared him for? The man looked into Elias's eyes and said, "Come with me. Our people need a leader." Elias knew this was the moment. God had taken him from the village not to abandon him, but to transform him. The call that would have broken him before, he was now ready to fulfill. 6. The return with new purpose. Elias followed the man back to his village, but he did not return as the Elias who left. He returned as a man shaped by silence, strengthened by testing, taught by God himself. The people welcomed him, drawn to the peace in his eyes, the wisdom in his words, the humility in his walk. He guided them with patience. He protected them with courage. He taught them what the wilderness taught him, that God is closest when life feels empty, that God provides even when resources are gone, that God speaks most clearly when the world is quiet, that every season has purpose, especially the painful ones. And Elias finally understood. God had not been preparing the wilderness for him. God had been preparing him for what was coming. 7. The lesson for your life. Elias's story is not just a story. It is a mirror of what God does in us. If you feel isolated, forgotten, empty, or confused, if you have lost what you thought was secure, if you are wondering why God has allowed this season, hear this truth. God is preparing you, preparing your character, preparing your faith, preparing your strength, preparing your purpose. What feels like delay is development. What feels like silence is shaping. What feels like loss is training. What feels like wilderness is preparation. God is not done. He is building something in you that cannot be shaken later. Final word. Whatever season you are in, wait patiently. God is working in hidden places. God is teaching you in quiet moments. God is strengthening you through storms. God is preparing you for things you cannot yet imagine. And like Elias, one day you will look back and say, "The wilderness was not the end of me. It was the making of me." Trust the preparation. Because God is preparing you. God bless you.